Did not create yourself, you are furthering the spread of mindlessness, evil, and destruction without even knowing it, and you probably don't even care. If we want to create an identity that works less, earns more, enjoys life, and has its ideas ripple through the universe to create heaven, it will be painful. Think of your quote self as an intellectual structure, a house but not a home. When you go to remodel a house, you don't rip the foundation out and watch it fall. You make small and strategic changes as you become aware of problems that ruin the aesthetic and function of the house. To change who you are, you must solve problems in alignment with the goals you create, not the ones that are assigned to you. That's how you live with purpose. Start superficial so you can stop living in a narrow-minded state of stress. Fix your health, fix your money problems, fix your relationships, and then dive into the depths of your ever-evolving purpose. Most people don't find their purpose because they don't see the purpose staring them in the face. You must solve the burning problems that are preventing your mind from expanding beyond surface-level living. You do not have one purpose. You move from lesser to greater purposes with time, effort, and evolution of who you are. Chapter 6. The Game. Life is like a video game. I enjoy making the connection between life and the MMORPG World of Warcraft that I spent a bit too much time playing as a teen. In the game, you are prompted with a series of choices and tutorials. You choose your race, you choose your class, you choose your appearance, you are launched into your relative starting zone, you are taught the fundamentals, rules, and mechanics of the game, you practice, level up a few times, and begin your journey as the main character. You unlock skills, traits, profession options, dungeons for specific loot, and the abilities to join a guild and travel faster with flight. All of these choices determine the opportunities available to you and whether you will enjoy playing the game or not. You may not like playing a support role, but you may love playing a tank and leading the group. In real life, we can make the choice to start our game over at any point. We can change who we are, what we pursue, and stack the resources that allow us to achieve that reality, like skills, a network, and our environment. In a video game, there are NPCs, or non-player characters. These are people who are programmed to simply exist in the game. They have zero conscious thought. You can interact with them, but they stay the same for the entirety of the game. They never level up. Quote, we learn and learn and learn from our parents, teachers, and friends who learn from their parents, teachers, and friends who were influenced by their life path, culture, and society. Schools, governments, and religious institutions rank the highest in authority and are often the first sources of information you are exposed to when seeking an answer to solve your problems. To be good in school, society, and religion, you must wash your mind with the teachings of school, society, and religion, a social fabric that relies solely on itself to make sense. Groundless, but necessary. A tool, not a master. Through social conditioning, most people remain NPCs playing the game they were programmed to play. From a macro perspective, this metagame is society. From a micro perspective, everything is a mind game. Every situation has a series of goals, problems, and paths in between that every individual perceives according to their identity or perspective. If you can mold your mind to see a situation for what it is, a game, by creating your own goal, constructing a path to get there, and deciphering the most advantageous actions you can take, even mundane situations can become enjoyable. Games are enjoyable because they focus the mind and eliminate distractions that can replicate until you reach a state of boredom or anxiety. Games present a descending series of goals, each presenting a certain level of challenge. Quote, if your skill doesn't match the challenge that the game presents, you're in for a bad time. If your skill is high and the challenge low, you will get bored. If your skill is low and the challenge is high, you will get anxious. When the challenge is just above your skill level, but you have absolute confidence in your ability to execute, you tap into what is arguably the most enjoyable point in the human experience, that is accessible without drugs, herbs, or other external compounds, of course. To create enjoyment in your life, you must create macro and micro games. The macro game of your life is your vision as the goal, life's work as the path, and micro games as the way to level up along the way. Micro games are everyday situations. You must approach every situation with an open mind, create your own goal, and attempt to win the games that are conducive to your vision. Everything else is a distraction. Do not play those games. And if you do, learn from them. Fast. Chapter 7. The Lens. Quote, you are a perspective vessel in a subjective reality. You have the ability to shift that perspective beyond a narrow identity to view situations from a higher, more holistic perspective that encapsulates the background, foreground, and detail of the situation. Perspective is like a DSLR camera. The camera itself has its limits due to how it is programmed. You can attach different lenses to the camera to capture a situation in a way that influences how the image is perceived based on your intention with the shot. In the real world, your lenses are ideologies or perspectives like religious beliefs, diet guidelines, business models, and relationship dynamics. Most people have one lens stuck to their camera for life. They will never see the big picture and get at the truth. Your job is to be like a shapeshifter. Study multiple perspectives and collect the lenses that allow you to see the world from a multitude of perspectives. This is how you stop reacting so much and take the actions that are best for your future. The field of view of the camera is your field of awareness. When you zoom in and focus on one thing, the background blurs. This creates focus in your practical life and eliminates distractions. But staying in this narrow focus limits your creativity. At times, you must zoom out to gather truths, patterns, and creative resources. Then, you can zoom back in to apply them to your practical life. Quote, "You, at this very moment in time, are a manifestation of your past mental, physical, financial, and spiritual choices. Who you want to become is a manifestation of the choices you make at this moment and the next until it all comes to an end." To make better decisions, you can't go through life as a mindless robot. You must pause, gain perspective, perceive the situation from a place of non-reaction, and make the best choice that actualizes your ideal future. If the good life is created by a series of high-quality decisions, and the high-quality decisions only stem from improvement after low-quality decisions, then it is in your best interest to fail hard and often with a smile on your face. Given the same amount of time, a person who makes 100 decisions regardless of how they feel will make exponentially more progress than the person who makes one decision because they are a slave to their thoughts. The default state of consciousness is chaos. Unless your mind is engaged with a thought, task, or stimulus, it will wander off in a negative direction, anxiety or boredom. When we allow randomness into our lives, negativity increases in potential. For every good thought, there are 100 negative thoughts if you do not have the purpose, path, or priority in alignment with your ideal future to ground your attention. I can fantasize about making a lot of money, but if I don't have clarity, my mind will wander to stressful bills, work, student loans, and those thoughts will splinter into more until you are drowning in overwhelm. The path out is the path of mastery, the utter dedication to creating the best life for yourself through self-education, skill acquisition, and daily practice. Quote, "The closed-minded, quick-fix attitude toward life is the greatest trap of our times, and it runs much deeper than the average person believes," which is ironic because the reason they think they aren't a victim of closed-mindedness is closed-mindedness in itself. Most people close their minds at the first hint of difficulty. Masters embrace difficulty because they've experienced the pattern it presents, the perception threshold, or runner's high. When you stick through the increasing difficulty of a situation, eventually you break through to a state of enjoyment. This occurs in the macro and micro. You don't need a quick fix to learn to walk, speak, or brew your favorite coffee. Those came from necessity and interest, even though they are as difficult as learning any other skill. Since you don't treat your ideal future as a necessity or interest, situations become more difficult than they are. Don't fight with it, flow with it. Chapter 8. The Formula. Most people stop learning after graduation. This is dangerous. You get trapped completing repetitive tasks, life stays the same, you get bored. The cure is to learn, build, and discover your way into an interesting life. It is impossible to change in the known. The same routines, the same job, the same physical, mental, and digital environments, the same identity, the same perspective. If you feel lost, the solution is counterintuitive. Throw yourself into the unknown and become even more lost. Move locations, read new books, acquire new skills to change careers, or build your own business. Force yourself into a place where you can gain clarity and interest. Then discover your way out. If you aren't interested in anything, it's because you aren't in the unknown. You don't have a chance at finding your interests. In order to do this well, you need an anti-vision and vision to create the frame of your perspective, a purpose to provide a lens to perceive situations and identify problems, a path to bring clarity to your education, skill acquisition, and building, and a priority to focus on every single day and ground your attention. All of these create a mind that is protected from distractions and expands with each level you reach. The anti-vision and vision. Quote, "First, become brutally aware of two things. 1, what you don't want. 2, where you will end up if you keep doing what you've been doing. Observe the masses and see where mindless action leads. It's not pretty." It's easier to know what you don't want from reflection and experience than it is to know what you want. You can understand what you don't want to provide insight into what you do want. This is an iterative process. What you think you want can change in a year, month, or week. But you will never realize that without making mistakes. Mistakes are your compass toward a better life. To create your anti-vision and vision, start with these questions. What does an unfulfilling day look like to you? What does your ideal day look like? What kind of person would you avoid as a significant other? What is your ideal version of a significant other? How do you not want to look, feel, and act? How do you want to look, feel, and act? How much money is too little to sustain your lifestyle? Why is it too little? What won't you be able to do with that money? What environment would you hate living in? Why? What is your ideal environment? Get specific with these. Write these down in a journal or notebook and add to them as inspiration strikes. Purpose, path, priority. Your purpose is the most pressing problem in your life right now, the one you've been putting off solving. Quote, your life's purpose is the big problem you want to solve in the world, but most people don't have the personal, professional, or social development to pursue that. Purpose evolves from superficial to metaphysical, and you cannot skip steps. Before you go off to solve big problems in the world, you must solve the big problems in your life. Health, wealth, and relationships are where your burning problems exist. Fix them. That alone will open up room for curiosity, creativity, and consciousness because your mind is not plagued with the stress of survival. Your path is a hierarchy of goals that evolves with time in alignment with your evolving purpose. There are skills, education, and knowledge you must acquire to reach a new level of mind. This is a never-ending path, the path of mastery. Deconstruct each domain of your life, health, wealth, and relationships into a path to uncover the small priority actions you must take to create a better life. You don't have to focus on them all at once, but you will need to improve them all eventually. Wealth and relationships can only improve as much as your health and vice versa. Your priority will involve learning or building for a dedicated time block every day. This is discussed in more depth in the project chapter. Along your journey, let curiosity be your guide into the icebergs of opportunity that life presents. Curiosity is the fuel along your path. As you are pushing into the unknown, novel information will grab your attention. These can be your best friend or worst enemy. There are 4 paths you can take to pursue your curiosity further. 1 is appreciation. Appreciate the ideas, people, and opportunities that you encounter. You don't have to judge or project. Appreciate them for what they are. 2 is understanding. You can seek to understand the opportunities deeper. This requires immersing yourself in books, content, and information relevant to that area. 3 is mastery. Once you understand something, you can then choose to master it. When you feel the pull to go deeper, don't suppress it. 4 is monetization. When you go all in on a select few areas, you can pair those skills and interests with business principles to create a living out of it. Dive into the unknown by pursuing your vision-aligned hierarchy of goals, educate yourself to gain clarity, execute the smallest priority task, and keep an open mind to discover new potentials for your life. Chapter 9. The Shift. Quote, we are living through what seems to be a second golden age. The formal education is being challenged by independent educators, journalists, experts, and artists that sought to remove the cap from their salary and physical reach. The banking system is being challenged by decentralized currency programmers. The government is being challenged by remote work and the desire for multi-nation citizenship to pay less taxes. When I was a child, I felt alone. I felt like I couldn't relate to my peers. They all obeyed their parents, teachers, and conformed to their friends without questioning whether or not it was the right decision. They went to school, got a job, and from that point forward, you never heard anything interesting from them again. Formal education has its place, but people are losing trust in its ability to secure their future. It's all too common for people to invest 4 to 12 years and tens of thousands of dollars after 12 prior years of public schooling to be left with close to nothing but a piece of paper. For those who want fulfilling work in an open schedule, a job isn't going to give it to you. I realized this after spending 5 years at university, having 2 years left to complete my degree, taking out $20,000 in loans even when I had a full ride scholarship, knowing I wanted to create my own path. Getting a job was the bane of my existence. Discovering my love for web development after taking an introductory course out of curiosity, learning the entire course curriculum through self-education in less than a month, using my self-study to get a high-paying tech job after my first interview after multiple business failures and accepting that I had to get a job to survive. The reality of formal education slapped me in the face. If I could learn more useful skills in 6 months of self-education than I could in 5 years of formal education, why hadn't I done that earlier? If I could get a higher paying job than most of the population through my studies that would eventually transfer over into a hyper-profitable business, why did I waste so much time in college? This introduces the importance of deep knowledge. Quote, curiosity is the path to doing the things you want to do. Curiosity is what makes you, you, and that is a necessity heading into the future of automated work. If you learn the same thing as everyone else to be trained into the select few jobs that are left, you can be replaced by almost anyone. The solution is deep knowledge. I like to think of deep knowledge as a zip file for the mind. With the formal education system nearing its end, as all things do, I'm convinced that the future of schooling will be done online with creators as teachers, and each student can join the school that aligns the most with their interests, values, and preferred method of learning. One school system wouldn't dominate their childhood and early adulthood. Students would evolve from creator to creator according to the deep knowledge they provide in their courses, mentorships, and content as decentralized schools. Deep knowledge is information that gradually raises the level of mind of the student. It helps them solve a sequence of problems toward a meaningful hierarchy of goals. The future of work is being created right before our eyes. You have the ability to create your own career through the acquisition and distribution of deep knowledge, because the future demands that we earn with our mind, not our time. You must solve your own problems, from superficial to metaphysical, to increase the value you have to offer to the world. The internet is one big community. Your ancestors were entrepreneurs within their own communities. Everyone fulfilled a role that they were best suited for. Entrepreneurship is modern survival, and the internet is your hunting ground. You hunt for deep knowledge by pursuing your curiosity. Dopamine is your compass, and you will need to break free of your drip-fed dopamine sedation of quick pleasures for this to make sense. Chapter 10. The New Rich. Quote, "Nobody said they wanted to work 40+ hours a week, numb their mind with mindless entertainment, and put off their dreams just to wake up one day wondering where the time went. Yet that's what everyone does." The word work creates a cascade of stressful thoughts and emotions about what people have to do tomorrow and the next day, forever until their life ends. People don't realize that work is a necessary part of life. It brings contrast to rest. Everyone wants to spend the majority of their life sipping coconuts on the beach, but when they have free time on their hands, they are arguably the most miserable. They don't realize that work brings order to the mind. The concept of a life's work doesn't cross the minds of the mindless masses. Your life's work is an inherent part of your vision for the future. It is how you spread the impact of the value you develop over time to others, and with the power of the internet, it has never been so feasible. You must create space for your life's work through intentional lifestyle design. If you don't take the time, it will be taken from you. In a world where 80-hour work weeks are encouraged, high-pressure environments are abundant, and little time is given for rest and recovery, you must fight back. Quote, 4-hour workdays, singular focus, and meaningful work are becoming the norm in small pockets of the internet, and for good reason. Ancient Romans and Greeks, Steve Jobs, Charles Darwin, and an ever-growing list of visionaries, strategists, and innovators attribute their success to surprisingly low work times accompanied by an abundance of restful activities like long walks. Most people see successful creatives and assume they work longer than the average employee. This is false. Most of the world's most impactful creatives worked for an amount of time that would make your jaw drop because they understood that focus is finite and creativity demands a lack of narrow focus on work. Rest opens your focus to allow your mind to register new ideas and solutions. To start your lifestyle design, follow this process. Pull out a notebook. Write down exactly what you are doing and why you do it at every minute of the day. Write down exactly how you feel in the morning, afternoon, and night. Prioritize, remove, and restructure your day in a way that allows you to feel better and have more time. This requires honesty with yourself. Create a week-long system to reverse entropy in your daily routine. Plan out your morning routine, focused work routine, other tasks and meetings, and your nightly routine. Over the next week, go back to your notebook and begin iterating on things that don't work in your system. To ensure maximum mental output, creativity, and life enjoyment, there are 3 things to consider: how you fill your mind, how you empty your mind, and how you use your mind. It is up to you to create a daily system with time and practice, but you should incorporate these 3 areas throughout the activities in your day. 1 is fill your mind. You need education, ideas, and novel resources you can apply toward your goals. This leads to intrinsic motivation. 2 is empty your mind. You don't want to be trapped in a chaotic bubble of thoughts and useful ideas. That's exactly how you make zero progress. Write things down. 3 is use your mind. You need a vessel to focus your efforts with your ideas and the clarity to execute. Build your future. We understand the importance of filling our minds with creative firepower and emptying our minds to allow space for creative emergence. Now we need to learn how to focus that creativity into our work. Quote, 4 hours of focused work is better than 8 hours of distracted work. When I was a kid, I heard about the 4-hour work week by Tim Ferriss. For some reason, the notion of a 4-hour work day stuck in my head throughout my young adulthood. This alone changed the direction of my life. I perceived anything more than 4 hours of work a day as a problem. I didn't label the lifestyle I wanted to achieve as impossible. This forced my mind to work on a creative solution whenever I worked longer than 4 hours. I was able to notice opportunities in business that allowed me to work 2 hours a day while everyone else worked 8 to 12-hour days doing the same thing. For most people, the 4-hour workday isn't a possibility right now. Not because you'll have to work longer at the start, but because you'll have to work shorter. If you have a job, spouse, or family, it is obvious that you will need to start small and prioritize your work. Start with 1 hour a day, and as you get results, increase to a 4-hour workday. Why 4 hours? Because from personal experience, scientific studies, and anecdotes from the world's most respected creatives, 3 to 5 hours is a sweet spot for mental energy expenditure. 4 hours as a deadline creates the frame of a game that you can play to win. If you play the character of someone who only works 4 hours and you've internalized that trait, then you will feel the pressure to complete your work within that time. Even better, when you chunk that work session up into smaller time blocks, you create a powerful environment to narrow your focus into a productive state of good stress. If you can spend 8 hours building someone else's dreams, you can spend 1 hour building your own. Chapter 11, The Skill Stack. Quote, "The state of work is changing. Specialists are out, but so are generalists. We live in a time of specialized generalism. You must pursue your curiosity, become obsessed with one crevice of reality, stack skills to solve burning problems within that domain, and let the base of your skill tree spread its roots into other connected domains. Becoming a specialist is a great way to get replaced in this digital renaissance. Pigeonholing yourself into one skill is not the path to independent success. If you become a specialist, you can work for someone else for a pretty paycheck, but you don't realize that they are the reason you can get paid. You can't create an independent income because you haven't learned those skills that allow you to get paid. Big businesses have marketing, sales, operations, and other departments that all serve a role in acquiring customers and delivering their products. There are no limits, aside from pleasurable distractions, to what you can learn and apply as one person. Individuals can learn design, marketing, writing, and video to run a multi-million-dollar business selling a solution to the problem they've solved in their lives. Thanks to deep knowledge being accessible to those who want to find it on the internet, you can become top 10% in any skill with 6 to 12 months of focused effort. When you combine the skills we will discuss below, your opportunity surface area compounds. The message and medium. It is impossible to achieve your version of success without value exchange. You must become a vessel of valuable information and exchange it for your desired form of value in relationships, business, and everyday life. In other words, if you want to make money, the form of value you want, then you have to exchange your own form of value with someone that has money. It isn't just going to appear out of thin air. A valuable message is a way to communicate with others that is relatable, understandable, and actionable. This requires an understanding of human nature and psychology. The best way to do this is to learn marketing and sales because they contain practical frameworks for understanding psychology with real-world practice. Value is determined by perception, and perception is influenced by an individual's worldview. To spread valuable information with your message, it must be crafted for a group or individual's level of mind, identity, and conditioning. There are certain words you can craft to capture, hold, and deliver value on attention. You must get people to focus on you, or else their focus will gravitate towards something more distracting or valuable. Your message must mimic the universe. Tell stories, lead people through highs and lows, spark emotions like your favorite movies, open a curiosity loop to capture attention, agitate a problem that then shapes their perspective, relate with them through personal experience, imply a goal with a desirable end result, provide a path for them to follow to achieve that result. Value is behavior change. The medium by which you spread your message is writing or speaking. There is content in consciousness and content in the collective consciousness. The front end of your mind is content in your consciousness, and the front end of the internet is content in the collective consciousness. The back end of your mind is the unconscious programming that shapes who you are, and the back end of the internet is the programmed operating system that houses content. Putting content into virtual reality is how you contribute to humanity through business. Start by learning to write, harness psychology through marketing and sales, and write a valuable message for the world to discover on the internet. Consistent writing helps your speaking. Writing is accessible to anyone. Everything on the internet starts with writing. Emails, posts, advertisements, video scripts, captions, direct messages, and more. Do not think that human psychology does not apply to any and all forms of writing regardless of where you write it. Writing, speaking, marketing, and sales are the foundational skills that will determine the results of any other skill you learn. Results-oriented skills. Quote, results-oriented skills are how you apply your message and medium of choice. They are the vessel for distributing your value. The message and the medium are evergreen, while results-oriented skills change with the landscape. You must keep your finger on the pulse of advancements in your interests so that you don't fade out as time progresses. At this point in time, results-oriented skills are digital. We don't live in a world where the printing press was just invented and profitable skills revolved around that. We live in a digital world. These results-oriented skills are subject to change, but email marketing, graphic design, videography, photography, editing, animation, artificial intelligence, and social media are a few that allow us to apply our message to the current landscape with our medium of choice. These skills are not only useful for your business, but for others. All brands, creators, and students have problems that they want solved in their personal and professional lives. When you stack result-oriented skills with evergreen skills, you can practice on your own business or create a product or service to use those skills to grow someone else's. If you invest the time it would take to get a degree in building an email list of 50,000 like-minded readers, that's twice the capacity of what a professional football stadium can hold. Now, if you craft a persuasive message, write a few emails, and promote a product that you've created as a solution to your own problems, I would not be surprised if you made the average United States salary in a month, minimum. Chapter 12. The Project. One pattern I've noticed in my life is that I've always carved out time to build something of my own. Things like schoolwork, client work, and even projects assigned to me on a job were necessary, but they didn't bring me the fulfillment I was looking for. I realized that the source of most people's lack of fulfillment is that they've never learned or built something that they chose to learn or build. The inputs and outputs of one's mind were enslaved since birth with the conventional life path. Learn this, build that, to the point where people hate the only two things that will free them from that enslavement. If you don't make a choice, society chooses for you. Having a perpetual stream of evolving personal projects to work on first thing brought novelty to my days. The discoveries, insight, and progress that I made across multiple domains were the source of my zest for life. A project is a tangible hierarchy of goals that orders the mind, and you are the infinite project. You are your life's work. You are a project that houses projects, each with a purpose, path, and priority that when actualized allows you to evolve. A project is how you throw an anchor in the unknown and pull yourself through a difficult current of learning experiences to complete the project. Quote, the source of learning is struggle, not memorization. Learning is the process of turning knowledge into understanding, and the lowest points of your life are those where a stackable lesson presents itself, but only if you apply it in reality. Projects help you frame what you learn. They allow you to pursue a goal, hit a roadblock, and frame your mind from the accompanying problem. Only from there can you truly learn something useful that can be instantly applied. To learn information with efficiency, don't start learning first. Create a project for the goal you want to achieve. Create a path or system to achieve that goal. Start building the project in the real world with what you know. Teach people about what you are building. This can be friends, family, or internet peers. Identify knowledge gaps when you can't build further or articulate your thoughts. Study deep knowledge to fill those knowledge gaps. Return to building and teaching. Repeat forever. This learning process utilizes novelty, pattern recognition, and self-experimentation to maximize the flow of information you experience. Quote, most people learn and learn and learn just to start over when it comes time to build because they realize that everything they've learned has no direct use in the project they began. They don't have a goal-specific lens to interpret their learnings from. The only way to solve your problems for good is through self-experimentation. Self-experimentation is the opposite of blind trust in a theory, guru, belief system, ideology, how-to advice, or dogma. It is the only way to discover what truly works for you and your infinitely unique needs. For any given problem, there are dozens, if not hundreds, of options available to you to solve it. Limiting yourself to the one or two that you know may not solve your problem. Your job is to research a plethora of solutions to your problem. Test them all without latching onto one. Note principles, patterns, and truths between them. Note what gets you results, but may not get others results. Begin to create your own solution with what you've learned. This is where true value is cultivated. This value can be used for profit or just to make your life better. If you have relationship problems, try going on a retreat, hiring a therapist, reading a book with advice, or working on it directly with your partner. If you have money problems, try creating a budget, starting a side business, or improving your skill set to get a higher paying job. If you have health problems, try fad diets like carnivore or keto, study nutrition principles, and immerse yourself in information from all sources until you understand the full puzzle. Don't be discouraged if the important problems in your life aren't solved in an instant. Chapter 13. The Vessel. Quote, everyone is an entrepreneur. Some just choose to get paid for the problems they solve in their personal life. All profitable products start as a project, whether the intention to sell is there or not. If If you want to generate a creative independent income to free yourself from society's chains, you will need to sell a valuable product. And what's a better starting point than a personal project that solves a burning problem that all living beings encounter? Self-improvement is about solving problems in your life. Business is about solving problems in other people's lives. Stop overcomplicating how to make money. Stop trying to solve creative problems that don't exist. Acquire the skills to solve the problems in your life, which is an automatic filter for value, then turn the solution into a product for others. There are 4 eternal markets in business: health, wealth, relationships, and happiness. These are where all burning problems and meaningful goals exist in your life and in others. Solve your own problems and sell the solution. Quote, how to start a billion-dollar company. Instead, start as one person. If you can't turn your interests into income, you don't have the skill to start a business that requires 10 times the resources. You, as an individual, have the ability to attract an audience to your work and put a valuable product in front of them. This is where most people start complicating modern business. They say you need to niche down and target an audience that you probably don't care to work with. Modern business advice is a surefire way to end up in another line of work that you hate. Let's tie this all together with a simple statement. The most profitable niche is you. Your purpose is your brand, your path is your product, your priorities are your content. Your content contains the valuable message that attracts people to your brand. When you occasionally put your product in front of them, that's how you start to generate an independent income. What is more niche than your combination of skills and interests that you have learned on the path toward your goals? Everyone has the same big goals of making more money, having more sex, having more energy, and ending their existential angst. While the goals are the same, the path you will take is different. If myself and another have the goal of making money, we are both going to research and experiment with different things. I may try e-commerce or digital products while they try budgeting and starting a brick and mortar business. By pursuing your goals, solving your problems through self-experimentation, turning your personal projects into products, and spreading a valuable message to attract people with a similar identity as you, I see it as very difficult to not make as much money as you please with time and iteration. If you are the niche, saturation ceases to exist. Everyone will have a unique product that serves people at their level of mind and helps raise the collective consciousness. Quote, the fate of humanity is not guaranteed. The evolution of the collective is only as powerful as the individuals that comprise it. It is for that reason that our evolution depends on the individuals you and I create through the reproduction of information born from conscious personal progress. Turning yourself into a business is how you reproduce on a spiritual level. It is how you shape the development of selves across the globe and contribute to humanity. While most people spread information that holistically leads to evil and destruction, you can seek to solve problems from superficial to metaphysical and become a massive value creator. To reiterate the entirety of this path, understand and experience the patterns of the universe. Experience the full range of the human experience. Align your decisions with the perspective of your ideal self. Pursue a hierarchy of goals and solve the true problems in your life. From an elevated level of mind, use your creative ability to build holistic projects that contribute to humanity. Hunt for ideas and build with your own 2 hands. Make the immaterial material. Turn dirt into gold. Become a fountainhead of value in a world that is desperate for depth. At the root of it all, leave your dent in the world through the art of focus. The end. If you'd like to grab a physical, audio, or digital version of my book, you can check the link in the description. Thank you.
you.